Number 10, the Community cast. Kicking off our list is a group effort. Chevy Chase was a popular man thanks to National Lampoon and Saturday Night Live, but he returned to the mainstream when he starred as Pierce Hawthorne on the hit sitcom Community. Now, I personally loved this show. Chevy Chase, not so much. And it would appear that his Community co-stars would agree with that statement. Around the middle of the show's runtime, Chevy started to complain about his co-stars, especially Donald Glover. It became apparent that he was more than just angry with Donald and was eventually fired for using racial slurs against him. According to Donald himself, aka Troy Barnes, Chevy would often make inappropriate jokes, either aimed at him or as a general way to disrupt a scene. Joel McHale told People that before he was fired, Chevy was complaining about his character on the show and how he was being portrayed. The entire cast reminded Chevy that there was no contract keeping him there, which may have been part of what set him off on set. His character was written out in truly humiliating fashion, with his life ending after feeding his geese too much, if you know what I mean. He was playing with his ding-dong. Number 9, Tyrese Gibson. It's no longer a surprise to anyone on the planet that James Franco is a bad dude. His negative vibe can actually be traced back to 2005. James and Tyrese Gibson starred opposite each other in a 2005 dramatic piece called Annapolis. The story followed Franco's character wanting to attend the titular Naval Academy and entering into a boxing tournament against some of the Navy's best and brightest. His main opponent was, of course, Tyrese Gibson. Throughout the majority of the film, James and Tyrese would regularly practice their choreography for their final fight of the film. Now, method acting is one thing when you just pretend to be someone else all the time, but it's different when you're literally punching your co-star for real. Instead of the normal film choreography allowing actors to fake hit each other, Franco was throwing real punches left and right without warning. Gibson tried to be civil at first and just asked him to lighten up, but Franco ignored him and continued to box his little heart out. When asked about the incident in interviews, Franco defends himself by saying that he was aware that he made the set difficult at times and just claimed to be so wrapped up in his role that he probably wasn't as friendly as he could be. Gibson, however, holds a massive grudge towards Franco, claiming that he'd never step foot in the same room as him ever again. Good news for Tyrese, James got cancelled and Fast 11 is surely on its way. Maybe they'll go to Atlantis this time. Okay, why does that sound cool though? Number 8, Viola Davis. Now, the stories about Jared Leto and his acting methods are infamous. On almost every single set that he's been on, this dude has just caused some kind of issue. Someone made a very smart decision to keep Jared away from his castmates on the set of Haunted Mansion. That decision really should have been made though on the set of the long-forgotten 2016 Suicide Squad from DC Comics, when Jared played the Joker and took it just way too far. Now, I have mentioned the fact that he's left live animals in people's trailers and used adult skin tubes on their pillows, and many times in many other videos. For Amanda Waller, aka Viola Davis, she actually received an unwanted surprise that almost forced her to quit the gig. One day she returned to her trailer where she found a case filled with ammunition. Thousands of little metal life enders were just left there as a gift from Jared. Viola did not think this was a present. In fact, she thought that this was a threat. After speaking to her fellow castmates, she realized that it was just Jared leaving her a fun little gift, you know, just enjoy it. This was frightening to say the least, but for Viola, it set her off. When speaking about her time on the film, she has maintained that Jared was intense, and she's glad that she never had to be face to face with him on screen. Or maybe she was. Honestly, I try not to think about that movie very much. Number 7, Amy Hill. Yeah, baby, this one's shagadelic. Despite being a Canadian treasure and the man behind some comedy cult classics like Austin Powers and Wayne's World, Mike Myers is apparently a menace on set. According to his Cat in the Hat co-star Amy Hill, Mike had handlers dress his entire trailer and work area in tenting. Apparently, he didn't want anyone to physically see him. Honestly, that's fair. If I was in a cat suit with an actual plastic bum crack in it, I would want to hide too. His reputation as a difficult Donnie may have something to do with Hollywood basically blacklisting him from appearing as a lead in anything thanks to The Love Guru, which, again, I try not to think about that movie. Of course, he recently starred in his own show called The Pentaverate, which aired on Netflix, a show where he was forced to play half of the cast because he couldn't get more people to work with him. Or maybe it's because of The Love Guru. Honestly, it's a bad movie, who knows? Number 6, Leto. Leto debuted a new song at Coachella earlier this year, a catchy tune that a lot of fans are calling a direct diss towards Nicki Minaj. The big energy rapper provided fans with a fun dance track packed to the brim with shade. Rapping the lyrics, snitches acting like they're running it, they really ran through. She thought I would kiss her ash, but She mustn't have she mustn't have took her meds. Can you tell I'm not a rapper? Leto ended the song with several clues as to who the song was about, including some ad-libs like, say she got a problem, imaginary smoke, you said it's up, then put on the floor. I honestly would love to quote everything that she sang or said about Nicki, but it just does not sound right coming out of me. I mean, just listen to how I say the word snitch, like the true Harry Potter geek that I am. In the past, the two had a very public battle on Twitter with swear words and shade being thrown left and right. After Coachella in 2022, these two fell out even harder. An all-out verbal war had begun with the two now entangled in a lifelong feud that may never fade. Now, I'm not sure who the rude one is in this case. I will let you be the judge because you're probably a fan and I'm not. Number 5, George Takei. This one is for all of you Star Trek fans out there. Please just live long and prosper and enjoy this video. Now, the world will surely be well aware of this long-standing feud between William Shatner and his Star Trek co-star, George Takei. This feud has lasted over 50 years, and according to George, boils down to William being a prima donna attention hog the entire time he was on set. Over the years, George has always been very vocal about his opinion on his fellow Star Trek cast and crew. Most of the time, he has nothing but nice things to say and claims to have made lifelong friends from the project. But there is one that he despises: William Shatner. William Shatner was the bane of everyone's existence on set. He loved being the center of attention, and he was very self-involved. He wanted everyone to know who he was. William actually responded to these claims, telling people that he believed his Star Trek co-star was damaging his good name for publicity's sake. Why would a man who's barely acted in 30 years suddenly want to bash you for fame and glory? That doesn't make sense. I don't know if anyone's noticed or not, but William Shatner hasn't done much either in a while, other than petition to go to space for real. Number 4, Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne and Vin Diesel first met on the set of Fast 5, the 5th Fast and Furious movie. They're really great with names. This was Vin Diesel's 5th movie, while it was Dwayne Johnson's first, not just in the franchise, but in acting in general. Now, at first, everything seemed to be okay with these guys. Fast 5 made a ton of money, and they asked Dwayne to come back for a 6th and 7th installment. However, something changed in 2016 when in a now deleted post called one of his fellow Fast 7 co-stars a candied bum bum, only he didn't say bum bum. Man, I wish I could swear. He actually said a word that rhymes with grass. Rumors began to fly that he was more than likely referencing Vin Diesel. Rumors proven true only a week later. Following the premiere of Fate of the Furious, Johnson posted to Instagram thanking all of his fellow cast members by name, but he left Vin Diesel out of it. It was later confirmed by Michelle Rodriguez, their co-star, that there was a massive amount of tension on set. They were bros at first, but as time went on, the franchise evolved, and so did their egos. They fought constantly over who should get more screen time, more money, who was the real lead, you know? Toxic stuff like that. To keep both of the actors happy, Johnson was given a spin-off movie where he co-starred with Jason Statham, and Vin Diesel was left right where he belongs with his family. Number 3, Meryl Streep. Dustin Hoffman is a very easy man to spot. Not only is he a solid actor, but he has a very specific face. Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, anyone? Huh? Remember that movie? I didn't until I started writing this script, and I'm gonna go watch it tonight. Despite his ability to play lovable and cheerful characters, he actually started out as somewhat of a villain. On the second day of filming his more famous part in Kramer vs. Kramer, Dustin decided to improvise a scene where he strikes Meryl Streep across the face. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Dustin Hoffman thought it'd be a good idea to slap Meryl Streep. Mamma mia, that's not okay. Get it? Because she was in Mama? I'm just gonna move on. Not only was Meryl shocked by the move, but she recalled that Dustin was also trying to use a tactic on her called emotional recall, taunting her about her late partner, John Cazale, and his illness. So just extra level of evil from Dusty. Number 2, Freddie Prinze Jr. Kiefer Sutherland is known for his roles in movies like Lost Boys and Stand By Me, and has built a nice little nest egg for himself. For a long time, he was starring in the crime drama 24. Many celebrities have made small cameos and reoccurring roles on the show, but in 2010, Scooby-Doo alumni Freddie Prinze Jr. was casted as Agent Cole Ortiz. Despite the massive success of the show, the job left him scarred, admitting that he hated every moment of it. According to Freddie, Kiefer Sutherland is the most unprofessional person in the entire world. He continued to say that he wasn't talking trash. This was something that he would say happily to Kiefer's face. Apparently, a ton of his co-stars agree that he makes filming a living nightmare. Following the end of his character's time on the show, he did slow down in the acting world, now limiting himself to voiceover and cameo roles. The odd thing was that while there was some people backing up Freddie's story, there were actually a higher number of defenders for Sutherland, claiming the exact opposite was happening. Some say he's the most professional man in the world, so if anyone watching this knows Kiefer, weigh in, write hashtag Kiefer good or hashtag Kiefer bad, and see what happens. Number 1, Rachel McAdams. The Notebook is considered to be a great romantic movie, one of the greatest of all time, in fact. Oddly enough, the on-screen couple did not get along at all while filming. Rachel McAdams and her co-star Ryan Gosling would constantly fight on set and seem to have completely opposite ideas on how most of the scenes should play out. One day in particular was pretty exciting for anyone not involved, all the drama watchers on set enjoying their free tea. Ryan called over the director and demanded that Rachel be replaced by another actress to read her lines. In front of 150 crew members, Ryan Gosling was claiming that Rachel wasn't giving him anything and the two would constantly yell at each other. Their toxic on-set feud somehow morphed into a real-life relationship that lasted for like 2 years. Anyone who's worked on the set of this film blames them for constant schedule setbacks and creating an overall difficult work environment. So honestly, we don't know who the meanest one was there, Rachel or Ryan. You be the judge.
And at number 10, we have The Weeknd. The Weeknd has famously stood his ground against the Grammys after he received 0 nominations for this year's Grammys, even though he had more commercial success than most other artists. He expressed his anger in a tweet after nominations were revealed, where he wrote, quote, "The Grammys remain corrupt. You owe me, my fans, and the industry transparency." He said in a statement later that he would be boycotting the Grammys for good, saying, quote, "I will no longer allow my label to submit my music to the Grammys because of secret committees. And these committees are selected by the Recording Academy to review and select nominations before they're given out to the entire committee to vote for the winner. These committees are also able to add artists who receive 0 nominations in all but the 4 primary categories." His outrage has caused tons of artists and fans to support him in boycotting the award show. Also, the show is being called the Scammies online rather than the Grammys. And at number 9, Britney Spears. Britney's been shedding light on her scary conservatorship situation since 2019. Britney's been under the care of a conservator since 2008, with her being unable to control many aspects of her life financially and even socially. Since 2019, her father Jamie has had sole control of the conservatorship. This is when she started fighting, and she's petitioned the courts to have someone else put on that conservatorship other than her father. A documentary called Framing Britney Spears that was recently released also highlighted on the constraints in Britney's life, as well as touching on how negative media coverage of her has caused her mental health to suffer. This has also caused the Free Britney movement to gain traction online. And I'm just so happy that her fans finally know the truth about her situation so we can support her when needed. And at number 8, Taylor Swift. Right as Calvin Harris and Taylor Swift had their messy split, a big secret was exposed. The demise of this couple is directly related to the success of the hit song, This Is What You Came For. The song became a huge hit when it was released by Calvin Harris in collaboration with Rihanna, but we later learned that Taylor actually wrote the song and brought it to Calvin, where they collaborated on it. But they decided not to release it together, but rather give Taylor credit through a pseudonym, Niels Seiberg. However, months later after it became a hit, Calvin would ask if he would ever collaborate with Taylor. When he said no and didn't reveal that Taylor was a huge part in his current hit song, Taylor decided to expose that she co-wrote it. He then clapped back on Twitter, tweeting, quote, "I figure if you're happy in your new relationship, you should focus on that, instead of trying to tear your ex-boyfriend down for something to do. I know you're off on tour and you need someone new to try and bury like Katie, etc., but I'm not that guy. Sorry, I won't allow it." And oh boy, did that just open up another whole separate can of worms, because that whole situation was very, very juicy and exposed a lot. And at number 7, Ronan Farrow. Ronan Farrow was the first person to blow the lid on the horrible actions of disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Ronan even published a book, Catch and Kill, which details his reporting process in investigating Weinstein's treatment of women. After his book came out, many Hollywood actresses came forward with their stories against the producer. This led to him being convicted of multiple crimes related to harmful and indecent behavior towards women. Farrow's reporting not only exposed many secrets in Hollywood, but gained tons of support for the Me Too movement that became popularized around that time. He ended up winning a Pulitzer Prize for his reporting as well. And at number 6, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle exposed secrets of the royal family in her tell-all interview with Oprah last month. In the 2-hour-long interview, she spoke of why her and Harry decided to leave the royal family and the treatment that she was subjected to. She said that the negative treatment by not only the family but the media pushed her mental health to the breaking point, and she even considered taking her own life at one point. She also said that when she went to the palace to get help, they did nothing, forcing her and Harry to leave. She also discussed negative differences between her children and other royal grandchildren, citing skin color as the reason for this, with her even mentioning mentioning at one point the question surrounding how dark Archie's skin would be when he was born was a point of conversation. Halfway number 5, Nicki DeJagger. YouTube star Nicki Tutorials was one of the first mainstream celebrities that had the guts to expose Ellen for how she treated people. Nicki went on the Ellen show after her coming out video went viral, but she exposed that the experience was not so great on a Dutch late night show. In that interview, when the host asked Nicki how her time on Ellen was, Nicki did not hold back, calling Ellen distant and cold, saying that Ellen didn't even come say hi to her before the show. Nicki said in another interview that Ellen also did not let her use the bathroom. Apparently the Jonas Brothers were on the show that same day, and Ellen didn't have enough for everyone. I do not believe that for 1 second. And honestly, after all that was exposed was when I believe Ellen's downfall really began. And at number 4, Johnny Depp. After Amber Heard made allegations that her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, had been physical with her, Johnny has been doing everything in his power to clear his name. And a lot has been exposed that has made tons of Hollywood stars flock to support Johnny in his legal battle with Amber. After her allegations were made, a leaked phone call exposed that Amber had admitted to being physical with Johnny. As well, plenty of friends and employees of Amber's came forward to say that she lied about having bruises on her face, such as her stylist and even her assistant. And over time, as more comes to light, it seems that Johnny has been the one telling the truth. And at number 3, Prince. Another artist that has exposed the music industry was Prince. He made negative statements after he decided to release his newest album at that time exclusively to Tidal. When speaking about why he sidestepped working with the label on his project, he said, quote, "Record contracts are just like, I'm gonna say the word, slavery. I would tell any young artist, don't sign." He also stated that record labels turn artists into, quote, indentured servitude, as artists have little control over how their music is used or how much money is made off of it. And these statements were not the first time that he called out the business. Back in 1993, while he was fighting with Warner Brothers over his contract, he frequently appeared on stage with the words written on his face. And at number 2, Kanye West. Kanye West straight up hates the music business and has expressed frustration over contracts, as well as the fact that he does not own his own masters. Last year, he called the music industry and the NBA, quote, modern day ships, while he was fighting to own his masters. He added on Twitter, quote, "When you sign a music deal, you sign away your rights. Without the masters, you can't do anything with your own music. Someone else controls where it's played and when it's played. Artists have nothing except fame, touring, and merch." Adding later that his children will own his masters, not the children of record executives. Kanye has also created his own label, Good Music, where he pledges to have fair contracts for his artists. And finally at number 1, Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt still have not settled their divorce and will be going to court soon to work out their child custody. Angelina is adamant about getting full custody of her children, and a new report from The Blast claims that Jolie is prepared to submit proof of domestic harm from Pitt in their marriage. These rumors first came to light in 2016 after the divorce, when Pitt was being investigated by social services for allegedly being physical with one of their kids on a private jet. However, after the investigation, the claims were dropped. The documents also show that Angelina is planning on having her children testify as well. Depending on what is revealed during that case, a massive secret could be revealed about Pitt, but we'll have to wait until more information comes out before we start making any assumptions.
Getting the countdown, number 10 is Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem. Unlike most celebrity feuds in Hollywood, these two didn't take their argument onto social media. They actually let each other have it through their song lyrics, or rap lyrics. Machine Gun Kelly released a diss track back in 2018 in an attempt to expose and insult Eminem. The song was called Rap Devil, and he used it to play off of Eminem's 2013 song Rap God. And rather than lashing out right away in the media, Eminem decided to respond with a diss track of his own. He later released a track called Kill Shot, where he exposed MGK and basically annihilated him for even thinking that his diss track would be significant enough to affect his career. Honestly, I don't even follow rap artists that closely, but I did follow this and I gave them a listen at the time, and there is no comparison between their lyrics or skill. Am I right, Chris?
I agree.
Come on! Everyone was like, Machine Gun Kelly killed it. I'm like, bro, when you listen to Eminem's verse that, like, there's no comparison. Up next, number 9 is Bella Thorne and Mod Sun. Nothing like getting into an argument with your ex in front of the entire world, right? The exes got into a heated convo on Twitter after Mod Sun made a joke during an interview saying he was going to auction off her stuff on eBay. He said, "I still have it, and I figure if she doesn't get it soon, I'm gonna have a really popular cop and eBay site. But then Bella clapped back on Twitter and exposed him for apparently not allowing her to come get her stuff. She tweeted, "Aw, looks like Maudie really wants some press. Also, didn't you call the cops on me when I wanted my computer?" He then told his side of the story through a tweet explaining that she showed up to his house uninvited and that he did not trust her going into his house when he was not there, so he called the cops. Honestly, it really doesn't matter whose side of the story you believe. To me, this was just so unnecessary to share with the rest of the world. Like, I'm happy you did because it was intriguing, but not necessary. You know what? Being a celebrity in Hollywood, like after a breakup, you would have to worry about so much. Them exposing anything about you, number one. Your stuff, because they could sell it for real and make some bank. Anything. Oh, that's scary. Any nudes? Are you kidding? Oh no. Gives me anxiety. Signing into number 8 is Tyrese Gibson and Dwayne Johnson. The two of them went after each other back in 2017 when the Fast and Furious 9 movie got pushed back. Tyrese exposed Dwayne on Instagram, writing, "Congratulations at The Rock and your brother-in-law aka $7, producing partner, for making the Fast and Furious franchise about you. Diversity love, multi-ethnic worldwide, multi-generational, United Nations, one race, fast family until Dwayne showed up." I guess this whole time he had a problem because he wasn't the only one on the movie poster. Dwayne went about the feud in a completely different way and actually was very surprised by it, and simply exposed Tyrese for how childish he was about the whole thing. He simply said that they've been friends for a really long time and that this feud was just one-sided. Honestly, I don't know if I believe that's why he was mad that he wasn't the only one on the poster. I don't know, I feel like that's a little much. Moving into number 7 is Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. I don't think any of us could forget the epic shoe-throwing fist fight they got into back in 2018. Fans only got to hear about the fight after it happened when video clips and photos surfaced online. The altercation happened at the Harper Bazaar Icons party after they both crossed paths on the red carpet and had something to say. After the news broke, the two of them went online to expose one another. Cardi said that Nicki made comments about her, calling her a bad mother, and that's why the two of them started going after each other. Nicki ended up exposing Cardi by accusing her of calling black women roaches and said women should not put other women down and girls get beat for that. Quote. They both had a lot to say about the incident and placed blame on the other person, but one thing they did agree on was that it was very embarrassing. And it was. That video clip of her throwing the shoe is just, oh, it's so funny. Cardi just chucks her shoe, because there's too much security, she can't get to her. So she takes off her heel and chucks it at her. Rolling into number 6 is Tati Westbrook and James Charles. The beauty community will never forget this epic battle back in 2019 that we recently learned should have never happened in the first place. Things got serious quickly when Tati uploaded an incredibly long video to her YouTube where she tore James apart and accused him of some pretty serious things. She was upset that he promoted Sugar Bear Hair, which is a direct competitor with her brand Halo Beauty, which he knew since they were close friends. But she did not stop there. She started to say that James was a threat to young people and that he tried to manipulate someone's sexuality with his celebrity status. James lost millions of followers in one day, and the world completely turned against him. He posted a response video where he exposed Tati for lying and tried to provide screenshots to show that she was lying and prove his case, but that still was not enough. The world was just really going in on him for a long time. Halfway through the list, number 5 is Kailyn Lowry and Janelle Evans. These Teen Mom 2 stars had a pretty nasty fight, and one that people thought was very petty. The whole argument went into flames on Twitter after Kailyn exposed that Janelle sent her a cease and desist letter the month prior. Janelle was posting stories on her social media about the paternity of Kailyn's son, and Kailyn tweeted at her saying, "Don't ever effing try to scare me with a cease and desist when you're posting this bullshit." Janelle exposed why the cease and desist letter was sent in the first place and said that she sent them to the entire cast of Teen Mom 2 because they were apparently saying negative things about her husband. For the record, her husband was actually kicked off the show for making homophobic comments, so in all honesty, Janelle's just kind of exposing herself and her marriage. Didn't quite work out. Oh my god, I know you don't follow Teen Mom, Chris, but down the road, Caitlyn sent Janelle like her PR package because she started a brand, and Janelle in a live stream video set the whole thing on fire. Like in her backyard, like into flames. Yeah, like whoa. Anyways, fun fact. Making their way into number 4 is Chloe Moretz and Kim Kardashian. This one was so unexpected and random. It started after Kim posted a nude mirror selfie on social media, and Chloe felt the need to say something about it. The selfie was obviously a little censored, but Chloe did not approve of her post and made sure that everyone knew about it. Technically, Kim exposed herself with the nude photo, but Chloe commented on her post and wrote, "I truly hope you realize how important setting goals are for young women, teaching them we have so much more to offer than just our bodies." Kim quickly fired back, pointing out that Chloe posed nude for her Nylon magazine cover shoot. Just for some context, she was covered with a jacket over her body, but she was still nude underneath. Kim tweeted in response saying, "Let's all welcome Chloe Moretz to Twitter since no one knows who she is. Your nylon cover is cute, boo." Like, Kim's an adult, that's just so annoying to me. Anyways, Kim's family even got involved, and Khloe Kardashian started tweeting at Khloe, the other Khloe as well, and Khloe could just basically not keep up with all the Kardashians, if you know what I'm saying. If you know the show. That's a lot of Chloe's in that sentence, so people are gonna be like, what Chloe are you even talking about? In the 3rd spot on our list is Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan. The war between them started back in 2006 when Lindsay started to date Paris' ex-boyfriend. Since then, they have been taking plenty of shots at each other in different interviews. One common topic is the infamous paparazzi photos of Paris' night out with Britney Spears back in 2006. The pictures are honestly iconic, and they even include Lindsay Lohan. But Paris later exposed that apparently Lindsay crashed their night out and was never actually invited. But then Lindsay responded in her own interview and said Paris is a pathological liar and that they had planned the night out as a trio, which is why the media called them the Holy Trinity. The only person who could really confirm this for us is Britney Spears, but she hasn't, and I'm still waiting for her. That'd be like, great. Let's just ask her. Was it a three-way hangout, or did Lindsay crash the party? I really want to know. In spot number 2 is Neil Patrick Harris and James Woods. Another very random and unexpected feud that no one saw coming. Neil posted a photo of an 8-year-old boy with his family at a pride celebration, and James thought he should expose him for what he thought was threatening to our future generations. James tweeted in response to his post saying, "This is sweet. Wait until this poor kid grows up, realizes what you've done, and stuffs both of you dismembered into a freezer bag in the garage." Honestly, who in their right mind says something like that to someone? Like, I've said this to Chris before, the only type of person who will say this to someone is someone who would dismember people and stick them in their freezer. You gotta be crazy to be saying something like this on Twitter. Is it not a fact? Exactly, crazy people. Like, that's what a crazy example of, like, if you're like referencing something to put on Twitter. That's absurd. Anyways, rather than exposing Neil for anything, he actually just exposed himself for being arrogant and homophobic. So Neil didn't really have much left to expose, but he did respond and called him utterly ignorant and classless. I don't know how that guy's not blacklisted in Hollywood after a comment like that. In our number 1 spot is Taylor Swift and Kanye West. One of the biggest celebrity feuds in Hollywood history, and it all started after Kanye claimed that Taylor gave him permission to use a lyric about her in his track called Famous. The line was completely degrading towards Taylor, so it's hard to think that anyone would believe that she agreed to this. The two of them both tried to expose one another online by releasing video recordings of their phone call where they apparently had the discussion about the lyrics. Even Kanye's wife, Kim Kardashian, decided to leak a private snippet of the convo on her Snapchat to get all her followers involved. The whole thing led to a massive spike in social media attacks on Taylor, but in the end, the real unedited footage was released recently, which proved that she was telling the truth the entire time. But this was literally just revealed in March 2020, so she had to fight this battle for years.